video I'm going to be talking about Ray's Theme Violin 1. So this is for grade 8 and also for violin ambassadors who are preparing this for the symphony concert. For now, we're just going to be looking at the same version we're working on in the grade 8 classroom. So it won't have the flute part and it's just a touch different, but same notes, same rhythms, all that stuff. So still good to practice it this way. So for violin 1, we are starting on our open A string. Remember that because we're in the key of C major, we're going to be playing with squish 2 on the D string, A string, and E string. So all of our second finger notes, which would normally be here, are just going to be squish 2s, which are really close to your first finger in between the tapes. We're also going to be playing with one back 1, and that'll be on our E string for an F natural. F sharp's on the tape, but we need to be playing back here for our F natural. Alright, so starting right at the beginning, we have a staccato on all of our open A's, which means we're going to kind of keep it short, but I don't want us to stop the bow. I don't want this. Doesn't sound the nicest. I'd like a nice ringing sound. Still short, but we're not cutting off the sound. Alright, there are a bunch of slurs in here which can be a bit complicated, but right from the beginning we're only slurring those 2 notes together on one bow. So here we go. I'm going to play from measure 1 to measure 5 just to give you guys an idea of what it should sound like. So here we go, I'm going to start on open A. Open A, sorry. Now let's go through and break it down. So we start on open A. All of those C's are squish 2s. Here we go. Squish A, squish A, D1, D3, A, squish A, squish 2, A, 1, 3, 1. Good. Okay, I'm going to start at measure 5 now. So I can play that E as an open string, or I can play it as a 4th finger on the D string. It's up to you. I find it easier to play it with the pinky on the tape, and I would challenge you to try that. So here I go. I'm going to start with my 4th finger on the 4th tape or open E string. Here we go, measure 5. And this is what it would sound like normally. Okay, so very repetitive, starting on open E or 4th finger on the A string. So we go 4, 3, 4, squish 2, 3, 1, open E, E, D, A3, E, squish 2, 3, 1, E. Okay, and we have a dotted rhythm there. So I'm going to try one more time, and I'm going to play it at regular speed. Okay, and now at measure 9, we're playing exactly the same pattern as the beginning, but it changes a little bit in 11. So here we go, measure 9, open A, squish 2, A, squish 2, A, D, 1, 3, 1, and here's where it's different. Okay, so we're going to be playing our open A. All of our quarter notes are open A, and then we're going to be going one step higher for every 8th note. So we go open A, squish 2, A, 3 on the A string, A, open E, A, back 1 on E string, A. So one more time, open A, squish 2, A, 3, A, open E, A, back 1 on E. Good, and now I'm at measure 13. So here again, we're starting on open A, and we're going to be playing squish twos and back ones. So here I go. I'm going to play the regular tempo up until measure 19. Here we go. Alright, so let's break it down. A squish 2, D1, A3, open E, hold it, open A, 3, squish 2, 1, squish 2, open A, 2, 3, A, squish 2, A, E, regular 1 because it's an F sharp, open A, 3, 1, 3. Okay, measure 16, we have a dotted half note, which is 3 beats, and then we have a quarter note, which is tied into another quarter note at measure 17, and it has an accent. So I'm going to play right there, measure 16, so you have an idea of what it's supposed to sound like. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, A squish 2. Okay, one more time, measure 16. Starting on an up bow. 1, 2, 3, down, hold, squish 2, A. Okay, now I'm at measure 18, and this is my regular one because it's an F sharp. A3. Then we go open. So here's the counting for measure 18. Again, it's tricky because we have a mix of quarter notes and eighth notes that are tied together. So every quarter note we know gets a beat. So here I go, measure 18. So this is 1, 2, 3. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, measure 18. 1, 2, 3. Again, and this time I'll say the notes out loud. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, A3, A3, E1, E3. Alright, so measure 19 to measure 25 is a little bit squiggly and difficult. So let's just look at it for a second. We have half notes that are tied to eighth notes. So how many beats are in a half note? Well, we know that there are 2. So we have to count in our head 1, 2, but then we have this tie to an eighth note. So that eighth note, the first one, is beat 3, but it's only half of beat 3. So we have to go 1, 2, 3, T, 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 ta. So I'm going to play it for you nice and slow. Here I go. Starting at 19, which is E3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and this is squiggly on our fingers as well. So we have an E3, then an E squish 2, and a squish 2 on the A string, then a back one on E. So it's tricky. Here I go. 2, 3, squish 2, A squish 2, back one on E, A3. Again. E3, squish 2, squish 2 on A, E back 1, A3. So if we can stop, sorry, Siri's talking to me for some reason. If we can stop our beat or our bow on all of those separate notes just to get them first, it'll be a little easier until we put them together. So I'm going to do that again. E3, squish 2, A squish 2, E back 1, A3. So do that a few times, stopping the bow but making sure we're still on the same bow, on an up bow. And this is what it'll sound like together. Okay, now I'm at measure 21, back 1 on E, 2, 3, open E, D1, A3. Okay, see how I stop the bow on every note to give myself a chance? I'm going to do that again. Back, down bow on back 1 on E, E, D1, A3, A1, 2, 3. Then I have to jump all the way down here to second finger on the G string. Alright, I'm going to start at measure 19 and play at tempo. Two, three, four, E back 1, 2, 3, D1, 2, 3, jump here. Now I'm at measure 23, A squish 2. And now I'm going to just do this slowly. A1, open D, A1, again, 2, 3. That one's probably the easiest of that whole section. So I leave my first finger on the A string. I don't move it at all as I go between A1 and open D. So I'm going to start at 23 again. 2, 3. A, E squish 2, E3. 2, 3, 4, 1. Then we have a bit of a familiar section. It looks like measure 5, but as we get into measure 28, our rhythm changes. So I'm going to start at measure 27 on an open E, except I'm going to play my fourth finger on the A string. So this should sound familiar. And here's where it changes. So I'm going to start at 28 now. So let's just do that. So we start on A3, A1, E, A squish 2, Alright, measure 29, now our key signature has changed. We have a B flat, which means all of our second finger notes are going to be squish, even on the G string, and we have a back one on the A string now, as well as on the E string. So measure 29, we start on an A3, then we go to E back 1, then open A, A3, E squish 2, E3. So this is what that sounds like. Okay, A3, back 1 on E, open A, A3, E squish 2, 3. Again. A3, E back 1, open A, A3, squish 2, 3. Then I have an A3, squish 2 on E, back 1, open E, back 1, A3. Now I have to hold this note for 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, down bow, 4, 1, E back 1, A3, E3, high 4 because it's a B natural, E squish 2. So I'm going to start again on that dotted half note, which is A3. Up bow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, back 1, then measure 35. This is really important that you make sure your back one on E string is nice and low, otherwise it'll sound gross. This is what it should sound like. This is what it would sound like if your finger was on the tape. Just doesn't sound right. So measure 35, it's a bunch of the exact same pattern. So this is what that pattern is. A3, E back 1, A3. So I'm going to leave my fingers in their spots. I'm not going to move them. That way the only thing that is doing anything is my bow. Okay, so I'm going to start at measure 35 and I'm going to go until 41. And here's where it changes, so we're still with a normal finger pattern. Squish to A3, E, back 1, A3, back 1, E. So I'm going to do measure 39, measure 38, where it changes a little bit. So we start on A3, E1, E back 1, A3, squish 2, open A3, open E, back 1, A3, back 1 on E, open E, and this is what it sounds like in real time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm going to start at measure 35. Alright, and measure 41 is exactly the same rhythm pattern as measure 5, but now we're going to be playing on the E string. So we start on E3, and we're only going to be using E3, E squish 2, back 1, and open E. Here I go. And open A at the end there. So I'm going to play that again, and I'll say the notes out loud for you. So again, measure 41, E3, squish 2, E3, back 1, E squish 2, open E, E3, E3, squish 2, E3, back 1, squish 2, open E, open A. Again, 41, real time. And then measure 45 is going to be very similar to measure 35, and it'll sound like this. Sorry, I actually started at measure 46. I'm going to start right at 45, and again, I'm going to anchor my third finger on the A string and my back one on the E, because that's all I'm using here. Open A, squish 2, A3, anchor. Alright, so once you've started feeling a little bit more comfortable with the piece, I'd like you to start trying to use the dynamic marking. So you can see there's a lot of crescendos and decrescendos, so getting louder and getting quieter. And then a lot of diminuendos as well, which is basically the same thing as a decrescendo. And at the end there it says slowly, so you'll start at tempo at 45, and in the last two measures you'll slow down. So I'm going to just demonstrate what that sounds like. So again, measure 45. So you can see I slowed the rhythm down quite a bit there. And then we have a fermata, which means you're going to hold that note until you see your conductor cut you off like that. Alright, so that was Ray's Theme, Violin 1. Happy practicing, everyone.